Second, a position deputy leader of a position. A. Opening. Summary the previous speaker's argument and a short review your upcoming speech. The determination on whether or not a value should be considered as a form of human right violation should be constructed by the person or community whose definition of welfare are heavily dependent on the acceptability of the society over a mechanism to reach their own version and the standard of happiness. It means if their versions of mechanism to reach this welfare were to be forbidden by the government and should be replaced by other mechanism that is not coming from the belief and the value that this person or community believe in, then instead of getting the maximum fulfillment of their right, the only thing that they will get are just givers and sorrow because the government did not respect their personal or communal belief and value. B. Team split. As the deputy leader of opposition's side of the House, I have 2 points of contention that I'm going to analyze. First point, there is no such thing of logical fallacy of popularity or a wrong decision that is made based on blind, irrational capacity. Under our model proposal, because allowing the value of personal choice to be performed by the believers is actually the best indicator to see on which value that is mostly needed by this individual or community at the moment. Second point, the motivation of advancing society change should be coming from the inner willingness of the individual or the society. Imposing alien value to them will only create an unsustainability development of situation in future that will even harm all the stakeholders being involved in this issue. C. Rebuttal. But before I move on my first point of contention, let's see first the argument that has been delivered by the deputy leader of the affirmative side of the House. I have 2 major points of rebuttal. First, the deputy leader of affirmative team believed that the objective of their model of proposal is actually in line with the principle of democracy, which is to provide an equal definition of welfare to all levels of society. This is where the affirmative team seemed to fail to describe a definition of equality. The definition of equality is not the condition where everyone get exactly the same amount of treatment. The real meaning of equality is the condition where everyone get only a certain amount of treatment that is calculated based on the necessity that is proportional to each different individual or society. Take the example about the amount of food consumption. Equality is not the condition where a baby gets the same amount of food consumption like for an adult person. The real meaning of equality is when a baby get a food consumption intake that is proportional to this baby necessity. Providing a baby the same amount of food consumption like that for an adult person will only going to create significant harm for the baby. That is the real definition of equality. If this conclusion were to be drawn into our discussion today, then the definition of equality is not the condition where all individuals or smokers and non-smokers are being generalized and given the same treatment by assuming that the definition of welfare that is proportional from the perspective of non-smokers will be similar and proportional, also like the definition of welfare from the perspective of smokers. Smokers and non-smokers undeniably have different perspectives over the definition of welfare. Then we when the government regulating the law of banning smoking and threatening the smokers to stop smoking or else they will be sent to the prison is a form of heavy violation on the smokers' right to determine the way of their life and should never be interfered by the government by imposing the definition of welfare under the version of government to be accepted by the smokers. 2. The deputy leader of affirmative team believed that since the mechanism of model of proposal requires the process of scarfing and harming the basic human right of the practitioners, then the affirmative team believe if the process, the talk of the practice of this personal choice is solely made based on blind, irrational process, and thus should be strongly forbidden by the government as a rational authority. We as the opposition side of the House strongly reject this idea and seemed the affirmative side of the House assumed if the categorization of benefit that an individual could get is only about physical benefit. The affirmative team seemed to fail